What's up and welcome to Party Invite, where we invite you to a gaming community of inclusiveness and diversity. Your party members today are Thomas Egan.
Hey.
Carlos Gomez.
Howdy.
And I am your party leader, Chris Mowry. Our companion on today's episode is Party Invite community member and community mod, Shell Lumpkin.
Hey, Yupdatschelle.
How you doing, Shell?
Doing great tonight. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing all right.
I was about to say, where's the party at?
This is the party.
Oh,
this is
no.
it. This is the party.
Sorry.
Tonight we're going to talk about some news items, the Square Enix event, bunch of stuff going on with Game Pass. But first, we're going to get into what we've been playing. I'm going to go ahead and start tonight. I have been playing a game that Carlos and Devi have championed for a very long time, and I just am now finally diving in. Rogue Company. Very
That
fun.
sucker's been out since last July.
Last
Just
July, yeah. So something that I had a problem with when I was originally playing it, I was always having fun with it. I always found the mechanics fun and the shooting and everything was great. But there was no progression. I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. I was just like, how do you guys have cool shit? I don't have any cool shit. I want cool shit on my people, for my characters. And they recently, just this season, this is their season 1, even though they've been out since July, which is amazing. So they finally have like a season pass, or not a season pass, but like a battle pass, bunch of new skins and stuff. And it just seems like they're giving you more. So you have, in like all these games, you have like the points that you earn from playing, right? Your like currency that you're earning from playing games and completing achievements and things. And then you have like the paid currency. Well, on PS Plus, they give you like $500 and a character. And there was like another one that was like $4.99 or something that gave you like money and some skins. So I did all that. And for $5, I got the battle pass, which is normally $10. So I kind of gamed the system a little bit. Just a little heads up for all them people trying to game the system a bit on the PlayStation. That's how you get it done.
Finesse Mowry.
Yup. So did that, and I will say that they've like changed quite a bit of that game. There's dailies. You earn reputation like hand over fist in this. It costs probably between 10 and 20,000 reputation to be able to unlock another character. And it's just not a problem anymore. Like, I've already unlocked 2 characters already. And I'm like right up against getting another one. So,
that's how Apex Legends worked, where at first I'm just like, oh man, I kind of have to work to get these characters. But as soon as I stopped paying attention, I was just like, oh, I've unlocked 3 of them, and I have currency to unlock 12 more, even though there are like 2 more characters.
So I'm really enjoying it. It's for anybody that doesn't know what Rogue Company is. It's a 4v4 third-person like cooperative shooter. It's like elements of like CS:GO and Overwatch, and like kind of all these things are all kind of together. And it's great. It's free. It's free to play. So
yeah, free's pretty cool.
Check it out.
Free is always good.
It's just like, it was like one of those times. Is like, I think you need to actually dive into that. I ended up started playing a character that I just don't normally play either in games. I play a shield and pistol character, which is not my bag, but I get that pistol work done.
Badass Viking woman.
Yeah,
yes.
I get that
Chris,
pistol work done.
I love hearing you. Okay, because I know I feel like I bring it up a lot now. When we played Monster Train, and you saw the one tribe, the candle people, and you're like, man, I read their mechanic, I just don't like it. I'm just not interested.
Right.
And then fast forward like a week, and Chris texts me. He's like, yo, I played the candle people.
It's
it
dope.
rocks.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But there's like,
I love that.
That's kind of like how it always works, right? Like you have like those characters you naturally, especially in like hero shooters, once you see what their abilities are, you're like, that's what I want to do. And that kind of happened in Outriders too, where I was like, I want to be this character. And then I ended up being the complete, I was like Pyromancer was my favorite. That's not exactly where I saw myself going when I originally started.
Something about Rogue Company that I like is it doesn't follow the traditional DPS tank healer archetypes that you see in Overwatch. I mean, I like playing Anvil, the guy who can put up a giant physical shield.
Mm-hmm.
So he is pretty tanky, but I could just not worry about that shield and still do just fine with him. Like in a game like Overwatch, if you're a tank, you are tanking. Like you can do damage and stuff, but you are a tank. A damage character is not doing a lot of healing. He's not doing a lot of tanking and stuff. And those things are good if that's what you're looking for, especially if you come off of like a tabletop or an MMO background. Great, those things are wonderful. But I like Rogue Company because you don't feel pigeonholed to be like, okay, I'm the guy who's supposed to just be a bullet sponge. Or I'm the person who stands in the back, never shoots any enemies, and only heals people.
Okay.
I appreciate that about Rogue Company because it's not those things.
Yeah, my friend sent me a photo before I realized that he started playing it. After I was like, everybody, you guys need to get on this with me. Andrew, he messaged me, and it was a picture of he played as Saint, and he went like 30 something with 20 downs, and like it was Saint. So I checked the revives, and it said 3. I go, a little low on those revives. He's like, every time I send that robot out, people die too quick. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you do have a point.
Yeah.
That doesn't always translate. So like, it's just more about the skill of like getting the shooting down or like start knowing the maps and things. It's less about, I guess it's less about playing a role. It's more about like getting a team together and just fucking doing some work, doing the Lord's work out there.
Well, it's going out there and just doing well. So like for him, doing well meant that he just killed the whole team.
Murdered
because if he
everyone.
kills the whole team,
Right.
then nobody needs any healing.
Right.
Yeah, instincts
Jeff
are a really
Gerstmann-
big part.
Jeff Gerstmann once said in a video, I think it was a Sekiro video, he was like, if you're healing, you're not damage dealing.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah. Like, if you just kill all the enemies, then you won't need to heal, you know?
You will heal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real good. I know it's been out for a
Chris,
while.
how many
but-
hours you got in that game?
Oh,
How much time you put in that game?
probably at like 25 or so now.
Okay.
The first day of me like getting the battle pass and hopping in, I put in 6 hours and I was already at another character. So I'd already like it's pretty fast how quickly you can earn stuff.
So it's easy to progress.
It's like way better than it was before. As far as I
it's
remember, I
something
don't
like-
remember being a battle pass or any of that.
It's around 5 to 10 hours to earn enough to, as long as you're doing well enough, 5 to 10 hours will get you a new character as far as reputation goes.
And they're pretty liberal with XP boosts. They may not be long. They may be like little 30-minute ones, but you're getting them like every few levels. Like it's not like in I feel like Call of Duty. It's like you get one at the beginning when you purchase the battle pass, and then you wait 10 levels or so, and then you get one, and then you wait another 10, you get one. It's like, no, here's a little bit of money. Here's some XP boost. Here's the, like, it's just like, it feels like it's kind of like constantly
Rolling.
keeping you in. Yeah, it's like, especially with
Okay.
those games, it's really important that they do that.
Chris, have you
But-
been playing by yourself?
Yeah, I have actually, and that's been much better than it used to be. Because when you play by yourself before, it was incredibly frustrating. It still is frustrating when people just don't know what to do. But with free games, because it's free, you're going to get a lot of kids. Because there's not a lot of, I mean, you're shooting people, but there's not. I can't remember if there's like much blood splatter. I don't
No.
think there is at all. So like, it's technically like friendly to children. Who are playing shooters. So like what?
Yeah,
what?
I mean, it's
But you know, like you're gonna get a lot of kids on there. I have this hilarious story of I was playing and somebody had a mic, and so I just plugged in my microphone and started talking to him, and this kid goes, "How old are you, bro?" And I go, 32, and he goes, "On God?" And I'm like, "On God, I am 32 years old." And he goes, "That's crazy. You played CS:GO like 99." And I'm like, I did play
Oh my God, he dated you.
I did play CS:GO 99. Thank you.
He dated you.
And I was just like,
He
okay.
put a date on you.
I know. I was like, CS:GO 99. Yeah, I remember. Or it wasn't CS:GO then. It was just Counter Strike. But
man.
yeah, it was.
He put a date on you.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of like, all right, well, I'll just leave my mic unplugged for the rest of the day, and moving on.
That's when you go, child. Let me talk to you about Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
That's what we need to be.
What you know about bouncing grenades and stuff? Nothing. So yeah, that's it's been fun, and I suggest people get like a little squad together and play, because it's fun. When you have a full team, it's even better than when you're just rolling around as like duos or something.
Yeah, so let me sneak this last thing in, is that the reason I asked you if you were playing alone, because you said you had the XP boost, the experience boost, is that in Apex Legends, so I know that experience boost used to be a big thing, or are a big thing in Fortnite. I think they're a big thing in the Battle Passes on Call of Duty,
yep.
but I've never looked into it. I think they are.
Yes.
In Apex, you don't get XP boosts based on time. You get an experience boost based on if you and anyone else in your squad have the battle pass, and the boost gets bigger the further you are in your battle pass, and they stack. So if 3 of us were in a group together at the beginning, each of us add 5% to our bonuses when we get like top 10 or better. When we progress further, we each contribute 10, then we each contribute 15, 20. And I look at that, and so I really like that because it really incentivizes you to squad up with your friends. And the game is definitely better with your friends. But I think Rogue Company taking the approach where they are trying to improve the single-player experience, I think that's smart, because if you group up, you're going to have a good time and you're probably going to do better anyway. But if you're single-player, an experience boost makes a little bit more sense, because you want to have a better time. And even if you just do okay, an experience boost guarantees that you're still like leveling up and stuff.
Yeah, and to be honest, they're really lax on the times too, because you'll unlock one and I'll be playing for like 3 hours and my XP is still like extra boost. I'm like, all right, sure, whatever, man.
Okay.
Like, I'll take it.
That's funny. Well, cool. I'm glad. I'm honestly really glad to hear that you're enjoying that game by yourself, because as we've illustrated, playing that game with a group is awesome. So it's good to hear that playing that game solo is good.
I played a little bit of Rogue Company with you, so I'm looking forward to some more of that shit sometime. But other than that, I'm trying to work my way through Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, because I've got to finish a lot of RPGs this year, and that's a 50-plus hour game, and I'm only 12 or 13 hours into it.
Yeah.
50-plus hour game. So
it's long.
You've played Xenoblade. Excuse me. You've played Xenoblade Chronicles before, or you've played?
I played 2.
Series? Okay.
I played the second one, yeah. And it's my favorite game, period. But thankfully, it has a lot of parallels to the first one, but it's not a real sequel technically. That's as far as I know without getting into the spoilers and stuff for myself. But yeah, you can still go back to play Chronicles 1 and be just fine. But yeah, it's a super long game. It's very good. It's enthralling, but it is another one of those JRPGs that does take a little bit of time to really get into the groove of things. Heavy on cutscenes, heavy on story. Love it so much. But I am somebody that plays a shit ton of games all the time, so getting the time for a game like that is tough.
Yeah.
But other than that, when I'm not playing Rogue Company for the casual stuff or Madden, I went ahead and tried the trial of PS Now, because as you know, I like playing cloud stuff. And PS Now was not working for a lot of people for a few weeks there. You couldn't sign up for it.
Weird.
And so, I think it was last week. Yeah, they have the little join now, and they had a free 7-day trial or whatever.
Yeah.
And the buttons were not working. They weren't linked to anything. You could just click the buttons on the website and it wouldn't do anything.
Dude, my Game Pass did that a while ago. It was just like, hey, you're not signed up for Game Pass. And I was like, well, first of all, definitely am. But you know what? Let me just sign up again, because I know it's going to expire soon, and I clicked the link and it was just like, this doesn't go anywhere. I'm like, why does this app not work?
Exactly. And so I went back and found my old PS3 tag and all my sign-in info. I re-signed in. I had to reset my password and shit like that. And I realized that PS Now does have a lot of good stuff. It's still not anywhere near the quality of Game Pass, but since I was a PS3 owner, it like PS Now brought me back exactly to PS3 level because it's got all the infamous Sly Cooper collection, God of War collection, stuff like that I did play through in that generation. And one of my all-time favorites, Tokyo Jungle. If you have not played Tokyo Jungle,
yeah,
you're missing out hardcore. And it's like the only place to play it is the PS3 or via PS Now. And so I just dabbled in a lot of stuff. I tested out all kinds of stuff. I tested out Horizon, tested out Last of Us, tested out Tokyo Jungle, and it all plays extremely well on my desktop. So I'm looking forward to getting into a few more of the classic PlayStation side of things the rest of the week, basically, because I went ahead and paid for it, and I had almost $2 in credit still on my old account. So hey,
there you go. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's just not. It's just not Game Pass. You know.
Yeah.
Thomas, what have you been playing?
So I have been playing a little this, little that. I have been playing the Undertale on the brunch special, which hopefully by the time this episode comes out, I have beaten. But who knows? What I just booted up yesterday is a Wolf Among Us. Telltale Games' first title I think they ever made.
Yes. No. I think that's the second.
It's the second one. They did Walking Dead first, and then Wolf Among Us.
They did Walking Dead first.
But it was the golden age of
Wolf
Telltale.
Among Us.
Okay, because I played The Walking Dead season 1 at some point, I think when it came out. I had thought at that point that Wolf Among Us had already come out, and I wasn't that worried about it. So actually, a reason it took me so long to get to the game was that I thought it came out before the stuff I played. So thinking that it was their first game, I was like, well, it's probably not going to be as good as The Walking Dead, but I'll get around to it. Well, yesterday I got around to it. We have friends over for dinner, and it was a weird situation. Okay, this is kind of dramatic, but a power line outside the back of our house was like mad sparking. Like it was a bad situation. Like I thought something was going to catch fire, even though it was raining. It's pretty spooky. So our power went out for a little while as the energy company came and fixed it. Well, when it came back on, all of us were actually at this point we were all playing on our Switches. So when the power did come back on, we were like, well, now what do we do? It's like getting late. We don't even know if we're motivated to play anything together. I was like, you know what? I'll download this A Wolf Among Us game. So I booted up, and man, there is really something to be said about playing a game like that in a group, like a small group of friends, because it's like, as our friend said, it's better than a movie because you have agency in it. And I'm sitting there being like, oh, guys, what do I do? And, at one point I was in a chase scene. Let me back it up. A Wolf Among Us is a choose-your-own-adventure game. It's cel-shaded. If you know what The Walking Dead Telltale game looks like, it's just like that. I didn't know anything about the story of this game except the main character is like a werewolf, basically, and that's it. So I boot up the game, and the opening card is, hey, it's more or less modern day New York, and all the fables that you've ever heard of from storybooks, they all still live in real life today, but to live in human society, they have to use this thing called glamour, which turns them into, they look like a human. So you are playing Big B Wolf. You are the big bad wolf, and you are the sheriff of Fabletown, where all the fables live. So you are trying to keep the peace, and there are characters. I've seen Beauty and the Beast. I've seen Snow White. I've seen Deedledee and Deedledum, and some other characters. The Mirror on the Wall. I had no idea that that's what this game was. I had no idea.
It's actually adapted from a graphic novel, I believe, as well.
called Fables.
Okay.
Yeah, in theory, it sounds like it's campy, but then you start playing and you're like, oh, this shit's serious.
Dude, it's
No,
solid.
it's serious. Like once you get into the book, Thomas, if you ever decide to, you'll know more about the character that you're
Well,
playing.
I have loved what I've played so far. I've played most of the way through the first chapter. Based on some in-game context, I can say if I played about 30 more minutes, 20 or 30 more minutes, I'd be done with this chapter. But I really love it. A lot of fiction that has to deal with things like this, like the TV show Once Upon a Time, I think is what it's called. That's a show that like my mom and my sisters liked, and I came back to the same problem I have with so many of those types of modern adaptations, is that everybody's teeth are too clean. No one has any bruises or scuffs or dirt on them. Like everyone is going through all these trials and tribulations and running through the forest, but they're all beautiful. Like there's no grit at all. There's no darkness. There's nothing like that. And that bugs me. I can't stand it. Like I like tough characters going through tough situations where things aren't going their way, you know, and sometimes they look bad. Sometimes like they look terrible because they're having a terrible day. And other fiction like that, I don't like it when it's just like, oh no, they're having a really bad day.
Everyone's pretty.
Shirt is torn.
CW11.
Everyone's pretty.
Yeah. So in this game, there were lots of FUs thrown around. I mean, lots of just like, there's blood everywhere. Like, oh, there is some serious gore happening very suddenly. Like, not over the top gore or anything, but stuff that I might expect in like an adult novel. You know, something that's not trying to hold my hand. Something that's not trying to be PG. Mm-hmm. And I appreciated that. And because of that grit, it made the characters a little more realistic in ways that was powerful, because these characters are as fictional as they could possibly be. You meet a character who's a pig. He's one of the three
little pigs.
Three little pigs. Yeah, I wanted to say three blind mice, but that didn't make any sense. You meet a pig. He's one of the three little pigs, and the whole time you're talking to him, all he wants is a drink of your bourbon that you're having. And at the end of this scene, like, and all this back and forth, you finally have the option. Like, do you actually want to give him the bourbon, or not give it to him like you said you won't this entire time? And like,
would you choose?
I gave him the bourbon because I was kind of a jerk to him in the conversation. But he seemed like a cool pig.
I mean, you did blow his house down, but he's cool about it.
You did blow his house down.
He brings that up. He's like, yeah, you should give me a drink of that bourbon because I'm still pretty sore about you blowing my house down. And I'm just like, oh, that's
the thing.
So I really appreciated that because these characters are as fictional as they get. But when you add that layer of grime, I mean, they live in New York, and like one of the characters lives in just like straight up the slums. It grounds it in a way that makes it easy to look at the characters as real people with real motivations instead of fairy tale motivations, you know, where you're just like, oh, you clearly don't care about anything except getting married, you know, or just something unusual like that. All in all, I probably played an hour and a half of that maybe, and I cannot wait.
You're gonna be an addict,
dude. I want to invite my friends over because I don't really want to play without them. Probably this will just turn into a me and Lizzie game, but I cannot wait to get back to that game. I knew I was gonna like it, but I love it.
That's noir fairy tale for you. Noir fairy tale games or noir games like that are always the bomb. Like, you expect the unexpected. Like, if your character, like Thomas was saying, if your character is having a bad day, he goes throughout the game either in a mood, or there are other characters that are going to brighten his mood that you know, when you do the clicking, because I play a lot of that too, point and click games or adventure games, choose your own path type. But once you get into those types of noir point clicks, your moods change, and you kind of like emotionally invest into those characters too. So I know how you feel.
Yeah, we were talking before the show about horror stuff, and the tense nature of some of that stuff is why I like it. It's the same reason I like horror fiction so much. It's that when the characters are like really feeling something, even if that is causing me stress, I like it because it's having an impact on me, and I showed up because I wanted to be impacted. And yeah, when when the characters having like when Bigby, the big bad wolf, when he's having of course he's in human form, when he's having these conversations with Snow White, who's basically your partner, like your detective partner. All the banter between us has been really great, and like there are other characters where I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to, like, if I'm supposed to trust you right now. Like, you seem to want me to trust you, but should I trust you? Stuff like that. But like the conversations with Snow White, like we're clearly both on the same page, like we're working together and stuff. And when things are going well with Snow White, like it feels really good. When things are going bad with a different character, it feels bad. And that's the show, like that's the tale of good character design and narrative design, that you really feel the way that they want you to feel and the way the character feels. So yeah, hopefully we'll have more to talk about the next time we meet. Who knows if I'll get to play it again, but yeah, Wolf Among Us by Telltale, do recommend. That thing goes on sale all the time.
And they're finally finishing it or coming out with 2 or something like that. They've like announced that 2 is coming.
Yeah, I think it's 2 because I think there are still 5 episodes. There are 5 or 6 episodes to what I'm playing right now. I don't know where that ends. Who knows? But I'll be interested in, of course, Telltale they shut down, 2 years ago, I think. But this game came out. I could look this up, but if I guess off the top of my head, I'd say it came out in like 2014. So I'll look that up and check it out. But
that might be too old, but you might not be wrong. Let's find out. Let's find out together.
I mean, until this podcast, I thought it came out before Walking Dead. Let's see.
2013.
I remember playing through the. Oh.
13.
I
okay.
remember playing through the Jurassic Park one and some of the Back to the Future games. So they are all a good time, for sure.
Yeah, there was just something that didn't quite hit for me on the Telltale games. I liked the first Walking Dead one, but I also had played Indigo Prophecy before Telltale games had started, and I was like, oh, I like the Cage games better, because I felt like there was like more to do outside of the interactions. Like there was like I could walk around and do other things. Like it felt like there was more game to it than some of that Telltale.
You could go running around yelling Sean in Heavy Rain.
Sean!
That's a hell of a good time.
Sean! Yeah.
Sean.
I thought it was like Jason. Jason!
There was also Jason. Yeah, Jason was the one with the balloon. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
at the very beginning, yeah.
Yes. So I had like kind of like enjoyed those games more, and I felt like they were kind of like a similar deal where you're like choose your path. You decide how the story goes, and I just had always enjoyed those games a little bit more. But the problem with those games too is if you fuck up at some point, you can just ruin entire fucking playthroughs.
Sometimes it be like that.
But then it's like, but it's frustrating.
If you're gonna save scum, then save scum. But look, man, you gotta make your bed and you gotta sleep in it too.
You gotta lie in it, and yeah, that's that can be tough, especially in those when you're just like trying to see the story through. And once you get to the final ending of the story, the quick time event or the very last decision you make just completely fucked everything you did for the last 20 hours. That's tough. I still haven't gone back to Detroit Become Human and replayed that because I was so sour on my initial ending was so bad. It was so bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you got the bad ending?
I got a really I was like, I think I'm going to do the right thing here.
That was a really good game, though.
It is. It was cool.
I watched Lizzie play that game, and I missed a lot of the decisions. I mean, I was in and out while she was playing.
Yeah.
Because like my PC room is here, and the living room was over there where she was playing. But I did see the ending to that game. Plus, I probably saw like 50% of that game total, all throughout. And man, I did not expect to like that game so much.
It's
I know
cool.
it got a lot of flack. I mean, it's got problems and stuff, but the ending that she saw, I was just like, damn, I got to see the rest of the game.
Cage is always on the nose. So, and people have problems with that, where like having the robots be on the back of the bus and things like it's a little like, okay, like I get the translation, I get what you're trying to do, maybe just ease off a little bit of that. I get what they're trying to do, but yeah, it's tough when those endings don't pan out exactly the way you thought they were. I'm actually kind of real excited about the Disco Elysium Final Cut coming out, because I want to see if the ending does change for what I do differently this time. Like I'm playing like full on piece of shit this
Chris,
time.
are you gonna stream that? Because I really need to see that.
So I
will
am going to stream that.
I will try
Okay,
to.
somebody's got to.
I've never played
Thomas,
it before. Let's talk more about that after the show, because
Yeah.
I want to play that game. I want to stream it, but I don't want to do it alone.
And you also
So-
don't want.
Chris is the person you need to play with.
It's flat. You
He's
might
like,
get
I don't know.
for disco, and now that it's all fully voiced, there may be some things that you don't want projected loudly from a video game being said out into the ether from your Twitch channel. I'm just going to say that as like a warning,
Really?
Because some of the characters you meet are not good, and they will say some pretty horrible shit, pretty bad stuff. Like there was a couple of times where Devin's like, "What is going on?" And I was like, because it's loud. There's like this character that is like incredibly racist and dirty and nasty and just says a lot of shit out loud. That is very bad. So there's that. Just
I
things
never
to
really
keep in
thought
mind.
about that because plenty of people did stream it when it first came out, but now I guess that makes a big difference.
But now they have laid off. Yeah.
It's a year later, and like before you could just read it, right? So people would like miss it, but now it's also fully voice acted. I mean, you don't have to make those decisions that kind of lead you down those really dark paths, but if you just start doing that organically,
I don't want to censor myself and my decisions in the game because I don't want bad words to play out of the speakers.
It's more than just bad words. You know what I mean? It's more than that.
Well, yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky because it's that is not only just like a long game, but it's the whole thing's narrative driven. I mean,
there's no combat. It's just dialogue.
So in a world like that is just like the DRM, or not DRM, the DMCAs with Twitch. It's that taking a game and streaming it is more than just sharing your experience with other people, because like you're saying here, there's a barrier where you as a streamer have to realize like what you're putting out, this isn't your game, but if people show up to your Twitch channel and they don't, they're like, Disco Elysium, that's a funny name, I don't know what this game is, and they click in and the first thing they hear is something just like
vile.
Obscene.
Yeah.
I mean, just awful. That's something you got to think about.
I will just for people that are, I know we're going off on a tangent here, but for people that are unfamiliar, you play like a disgraced like cop who's addicted to a bunch of things. My first playthrough, I try to play it as like he's gonna get his shit together at least while I'm controlling him, right? So I played as like the good or semi nice guy that could sometimes be an asshole, but on my next playthrough, like I don't want to play like that. I want to play bad. Like I want to see how it changes things. Like there's a whole character that like starts talking to you about race and that he feels he's a superior race to others, and then like you have a thought in your brain, in your thought cabinet, that says racism. If you have it equipped, you could eventually level up to where then you will have racist thought. And will
those particular characteristics will impact the way you play, right?
And it'll impact
what you're saying?
It'll impact dialogue options later on in the game. Like, okay. So, but you don't have to make that decision, right? So, like, you could play this game and not ever really engage with that. Like, you would engage with that character that starts saying shit like that. But you could totally just not engage.
If you think about it from like a role playing standpoint, it's interesting because it brings up the conversation: is it wrong for you to fictionally make this character
a piece
racist?
Of shit? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because whether it's racism or any other terrible, vile thing, it's just an interesting, it's a role-playing game, and like maybe the person you're role-playing is awful, but then it's more than just you playing the game, because if you're playing your game alone at home, you could see and internalize and discuss those things on your own terms.
Right.
But
And
if you're
yeah.
Twitch streaming those things, it's a whole different animal.
And that's why I'm just kind of sending out like a blanket warning to people that like, hey, this is an RPG that's all dialogue, but you might not have dived deep into what this actually is and what's going on here and how they play with ideals and thought and how you feel about things and how it fucks with you, for lack of a better term.
Still,
it's just a warning to people.
Checking that box
content.
on Twitch. Yeah, we'll have to check that box on Twitch.
Pre-record,
that says, mature audiences. Like usually that doesn't matter, but this will be the time where it's like, hey y'all,
like
check yourself at the door. Please.
Like people are very offended by the C word, right? And that there is a character in that game that just loud as hell, just like the loudest you have ever heard in your headphones on your PC or wherever, just screams that word out, and you're just like,
now I need to play it.
All right, so that's pretty.
Carlos,
tame.
this is exactly how it was. Carlos, this is exactly how it was when Chris was telling me about it in group. He was like, "So you like this kind of game? You might want to check out Disco Elysium." And I'm like, "Okay, should I really?" And I did check it out, and then I was like, "Okay, I need to see more gameplay." But I stopped playing the game, and I was like, "I hope somebody else is playing," but nobody else is playing in our group. So now, Chris or Thomas, I want to watch when y'all play.
It's like one of those ones where you just really want to be able to talk to people about. And there has been, I got incredibly hyped again for the game recently when I kind of went down a YouTube rabbit hole of like video essays that people have done about it, about its writing style, and just like how wild the game is itself, and just like what it means and all those kind of things. And I kind of went down a rabbit hole of that. So the 30th cannot come fast enough for me. But sorry, Disco Elysium tangent, but there'll definitely be more.
I'm here for it.
More coming.
My bad, y'all. I'm sorry.
Thank you for subbing to our Patreon to listen to that.
Yeah. Shell, what have you been playing?
Well, I'm currently dabbling in Valheim, and the reason being is because I like building things. And you can always catch me playing Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, New Horizons. But Valheim, I'm getting kind of intense into it. I don't have that many hours to play, but Thomas has gotten me addicted to the Viking nature of building things. Like I like
fun. It's pretty fun.
I like going out finding like certain items. Like the other day he said I want to build a boat. I was like, okay, cool. What do I need to get?
So how's that one coming along?
It has not come along yet, but I'm starting on it tonight. Because I've been in and out of the house all week long. Time Arona is time. We're trying to transition back to real world life, but I don't think it's coming along very good. Hence why I am playing a lot more Valheim and Animal Crossing these days, because I'm trying to find a balance in between the two.
Yeah.
And those pretty much have been helping. But those are my games, and I love Animal Crossing. I have a lot of hours, and I love Stardew. I have 200 hours, over 200 hours in Stardew.
Damn.
Yeah, and I just got the Stardew Valley board game in the mail not too long ago, because they just posted that on the merch website, and it's really nice, but you're kind of like lost because you don't know how to play it, and they give you directions, but it's just like,
what does that mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, what am I supposed to do here? This is not like farming on the game, but it's board game farming.
Well,
that makes any sense.
Even in the video game, the game's like, hey, here's some stuff. You can go do it if you feel like. And the way I play that game is just like, yeah, I don't know if I feel like. Like, I think I'm just gonna do whatever I want. Like, oh, you want me to plant stuff to be efficient to have? Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go talk to everybody in town and get drunk in the tavern.
And that's exactly. Well, I don't get drunk in the tavern, but I do go into town, or I go into the caves. I do a lot of cave diving. I do stream on my little channel. Channel's the same as the name. Yupdatschelle. And then I just kind of like free fall. Not too long ago, I did a spot on just to spin off Thomas's game, I did a spot on Telltale's The Walking Dead not too long ago.
You mentioning that was the reason I was like, you know what? I know we're having Shell on the podcast. Like, I'm gonna check this out, and I'm so glad I did.
Yes, and I highly recommend all of Telltale's games because they have just exquisite writing. I love their storytelling, their writing of each game. I'm gonna play the last one pretty soon. I'm gonna be streaming that on my channel too, which is the last of my favorite character, which I'll tell you a little bit later. And I just love it. I love storytelling. I love farming. I love Animal Crossing, and I definitely love Valheim because I'm kind of like farming for Flint.
Did they in Valheim? Did they fix that glitch that they were having a problem with, where seagulls would land on people's boats and then pick them up and take them away? Did they fix that, or is that still happening?
I did read the patch. I did read the patch notes. I heard they did fix it,
Okay.
but I
'Cause
didn't
that was
see
so
the patch
funny. Like,
notes
all these people are
about
like
that.
building these boats and taking forever, and all of a sudden they wake up and their boats are gone, and then they just see in the distance there's a
Yes,
seagull like
because of the
carrying their
bird.
fucking boat away.
Or
Because
there
of
was,
a bird.
I saw a video where somebody, they went to the top of just the tallest mountain they could find, and they built a log ramp, a wood ramp, and they put a boat on top of the ramp, and so they jump in.
The
and
roller
they ride,
coaster. I was gonna post that.
they made just this boat was flying down at a 45-degree angle so fast, and it hit the water, but instead of like splashing like you might expect water physics to do, it rubber banded. I mean, like flubber. It just hit the water and just boom, and just flew way up in the air, and it kept bouncing until it landed in the middle of a forest. But I was
Nice.
just like, wow, the things that people come up with to do.
Yeah, because then they
I
break
thought
it,
that
and then the
was real
developers are
smart,
like,
too.
"What? What do we do?"
When are you guys going to get
I thought that
together
was
and
real
build a
cool.
Notre Dame?
I did see
Oh
that.
my gosh! That's now me and Thomas got to start with the boat first.
Yeah. we gotta start small. Yeah, I'm enjoying that too. Like Chris with Rogue Company. I'm glad that Chris is enjoying Rogue Company by himself. I was nervous that I wasn't gonna like Valheim playing solo, but turns out game's pretty good. Like it's just about as fun playing by yourself. That game's rad.
I do like the fact that you can meet up with friends. If you like, say for example, like when I came over the first couple of times when we defeated the first boss, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna die." You were like, "No, we got this," and it was actually kind of fun. Like defeating the bosses with friends is what I would prefer, not beating bosses solo because it's kind of hard. I would see myself dying several times beating that first boss by myself, but beating it with friends, cool. Everything else, solo play, like getting stuff for buildings, our boats, hunting. That is my favorite too. Alongside building, hunting is my favorite because I like hunting deer. But all in all, I think there are good things to both of them. That's why I like that game.
It's like you can meet up, you can have like a house together, or you can have a village and be, a little spread out. But you can all just, it's basically an excuse to hang out in Discord or in chat or whatever. Maybe you're just on your own, not on a microphone, you're just listening to Spotify or something, and you're just doing your own thing. Like everybody's just doing their own thing, and then you all show up together and be like, hey, now together do we want to go fight this boss, or together do we want to go out on the ocean or explore this new area. It's nice because there's not a lot of pressure to anything in that whole game, and so when you're playing with your friends, you can really decide at any time, like, am I ready to just focus on me, or maybe do I want to like party up and do, a group thing? But the low pressure element of that game is the best part because you can really do anything you want at any time and feel good about it. All right, then, Shell, let's switch it up here and let's do the community spotlight before we do our news segment.
Whoa.
Alrighty.
We've heard a little bit about what you play, but I want to ask you some of the questions that you've picked out for our lineup. So we'll start from the top. Shell, what is your earliest gaming memory?
Well, my earliest was about 8 or 9. My brothers, I have 2 older brothers and I'm the baby, but they had an Atari, but they just wouldn't let me play. But that's not really like my most favoriteest. My favoriteest was when I was 13 or 14. Long story short, I already had this, I already had this information set together. But long story short, I was 13 and 14. It was a bunch of kids on my block. Our across the street neighbor, we called him Bronco Bob. I do not know why we called him Bronco Bob. We just called him Bronco Bob.
He probably had a
But he
Bronco.
loved, probably, I don't remember, but all I remember is that he liked gaming as much as we did, and we would all be over his house to play this particular game. I think it was Secret of Mana, but I don't really know. It was some type of game where it looked Zelda-esque, but it wasn't Zelda. But everybody would play at least an hour on the game. All the kids on the block would come to Bronco Bob's house and play an hour on the game until like 10 o'clock when all our parents came out and like corralled us up to come home. But that was my favorite. It's like we beat the game
Was that a
almost
Bronco
every.
joke?
No. But we finally beat the game. It just felt like I felt accomplished. We all felt accomplished. Like we actually won something together. And yeah, I've been going after that high ever since. So that's why I like gaming.
Can I just say that Bronco Bob did a legit service to the community with that?
He
Yes,
did.
he did.
He did.
Dude, it takes a village. And
It
he
does.
was-
And a
he
Bronco
was
Bob.
behaving-
And a Bronco Bob.
All right, Shell, do you have any favorite video game characters?
Right now I only have two. I love cats, so Cat Mario from 3D Mario World, and then my most favorite is Clementine from Telltale's The Walking Dead, which is why I'm so hyped when Thomas talks about Telltale games.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I got to figure out my own situation, but I think that A Wolf Among Us is going to be a me and Lizzie game that I'll play off stream. Because now that I've started streaming more, I've begun to appreciate my off-stream games more.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be a game that I'll share with Lizzie. I really want us to play Walking Dead together, but if that doesn't happen in a reasonable amount of time, I'll probably stream it because I've only seen the first season, or no, first episode. Whatever the first five.
No,
whatever
There's
the
a lot
first
of
five
Walking Dead.
chapters. Whatever the first 5 chapters with when Clementine's the little girl and they go to Atlanta.
that's season 1. That's season
Okay.
1.
I've only played season 1 and I loved it, and there's so much more to play. So
Yes.
I would
There's so
love
many
to.
feels.
I know it was so good. It was so good.
There's so many feels. That's why I love Telltale, because they be like, they write the story and then they write the story to make you feel. Like they write it so you can read the story, and then when you're playing the game, you're playing it and you're actually kind of like feeling those characters. I know it might sound extra, but you're feeling what those people are feeling when they're going through their journey throughout the story. You become emotionally invested. Like with Clementine, that's the reason why she's my favorite, because I've become emotionally invested from part 1 up to part, I think this is 4 that I've just played. I just played Walking Dead Telltale Story 4. I've played Michonne, but the only character you'll really be emotionally invested in is Clementine. Like you'll get an attachment with her because of how they write her. They write her innocence so well that you're like, this is just a kid. Why are they doing this? Or this is just a kid. I need her to do this. You'll be on one of those two.
Yeah.
And then once you become emotionally invested, when you get to the point where I'm at, you'll be like, all right, let's go. We got this clear and we can do this. Let's go.
hmm
But Telltale writes a good story. I just hate that they closed studio. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, that's the struggle of like the business of a video game is, it's not as simple as just like doing a good job. It's just not.
Mhm.
Like you can make an amazing game and it's, it might not work out.
And they made 5 amazing games.
They also took on way
Not
too many
just one,
projects
but
at once, and that's what happens when you have
That's
poor
true.
management.
That's true too, Chris. But those games are good.
Well, when you aren't even finished with 2 of them and you announce 5 more, it's like, what are you doing? Finish the game.
I mean, to be
Finish
honest,
the
they should have gone to
games.
Microsoft and been like, "Hey, can you just
Buy
acquire
us."
us, please, real quick?"
Right.
failure.
If Microsoft had started acquiring just a few years earlier.
A few
Telltale,
years earlier.
We're getting
Man.
off onto some tangents. We need
You're
to...
right.
Sorry, my bad.
So-
My bad.
So we love Clementine, and I'm excited for more Telltale Walking Dead. So our next question here is, Shell, are you single player or multiplayer?
My preference of gaming style is both. The reason why I like solo play is because it's kind of hard to organize the chaos and chaos. Like when you are playing Don't Starve together, it's hecka hard to coordinate people's roles, and it's hecka hard to keep everybody alive. Like I play a lot of survival. I love survival. People that know me know I love survival. That's what I play. But when you're playing games in survival and you have a team, it's really hard to keep your whole team alive because you just don't know what everybody else is doing. And somebody could be collecting wood, whereas you're trying to make sure the fire stays lit while it's raining, and this person's over here collecting wood. Thomas is collecting wood in a cave, letting out the bats, and everybody's dying from the bat attacks. So you're trying to get Thomas back into the group so that nobody else will die.
Called out.
I don't know
But
what you're talking about. I've
But
never
that's
done
why
anything wrong and Don't Starve. Not once.
Thomas will get everybody killed, y'all.
No, I will leave while everyone gets killed, and I'm like, wow, how did this happen?
Right. But then solo, with solo play, you kind of like have your goals planned out. You got your plan already. You know what to do to keep yourself alive. You don't have to worry about anybody else, because if you die, it's on you. Now, if you die with other people, they're gonna blame you for dying.
Yeah. Oh, Shell, actually,
Thomas.
we haven't talked about this since then. I felt so bad. We played Don't Starve together, but my mic wasn't coming out of my headset. It was coming out of my webcam.
Speaker.
And so half the time it just wasn't picking up, which meant like I would say things to you and they wouldn't transmit.
See, I'm seeing her face, and she's like, "Oh, great excuse, yeah."
Dude, I felt
Everybody
so bad.
was dying. Okay,
Everybody
let me tell
died.
you, Thomas
Everybody
burned
died
a
so
tree.
many
Everybody died.
Everybody died so
Thomas
many
burned
times.
a tree.
At the end, I burnt the whole forest down with our house, our camp in it. At the end of that one playthrough, Deerclops, the giant Yeti monster, showed up, destroyed everything, and we were like, "All right, good night. Good playing with you. I'll catch you next
See
week."
ya.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yeah, Thomas will make you die. Just kidding. But no, Thomas is fun to play with. But that's why I like solo. But multiplayer is because you have a team and you support the others. And I like teamwork because you can get more done. Like if there's an objective, like I was talking about Valheim earlier, with getting flint because Thomas wants to build a boat, I can just go out and find a crap ton of flint and drop it off and say, "Hey, here you go. Get to crafting." And we'll meet objectives together. I like that part of multiplayer, but that's why I choose both.
Okay. I mean, man, you were speaking my language here. I love survival games. I love all the stuff we've been talking about. The last question that I have not outlined here before is if you could pick one setting. So clearly you like survival games, you like collaboration, building, farming, a lot of that stuff where you can just make your own fun, right? Do you have like an ideal setting for that? Like Valheim is Vikings. Stardew, you're on a farm on an island. Like, is there any sort of environment that you would love to just explore that you could make your life in a video game?
Oh my God, that's a complicated question.
It's a big one.
Because there's so many areas that I like when I'm doing survival.
You
I
could
know
do
we
an
talked.
undersea one. I mean, you could do one in the mountains. You could do one in the past, in the future, in space.
No, I don't like space.
Keep it grounded.
Yeah, I don't like space. I would say this is kind of hard because I like more than one. Like I like the farming aspect. I like being in the farm, but I also like splunking too. like you've played Splunky a couple times. I think in Stardew Valley, because I play it so hard, that's what I do a lot of when I go into the game. Like I'll go into the caves and I'll just cave it out because the music is so zen and relaxing. Same thing with Valheim. If I'm in the meadows, that music is just relaxing, but I'm also just gathering. Like I like hunter gatherer type things. I guess I don't know how to describe it though. You're gonna make me think harder.
Well, I tell you what, let's revisit it at the end of the show because it's a
Okay.
big question.
Okay.
It's a big question.
Yeah, it is because when survival is not just one type of survival, because you got freezing, you got warm desert, you got water or oceanic, you've got plains, you've got mountains, you've got.
I mean, I think of a No Man's Sky where you go to a planet and it just could have anything on it, including caves. You know.
You see my face?
Like, did you say space though?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
None of that.
Well, cool.
None.
We'll come back to that here at the end of the show. We'll see what we come up with.
Let's get into our party topics. There's been some news lately. Let's get into some of it here. Carlos, what's up with the Square Enix thing?
Yeah, Square Enix had a presents. They tried to gain some ground on the whole PlayStation and Nintendo Direct and stuff like that. Do their own thing. It was, I thought it was fine, not great, but a lot of people had to get their opinions out today. but to go over real quick what actually happened during it, there were some announcements, but it started out with a really deep look into the mechanics and classes of Outriders. Mm-hmm. Definitely felt like a Bungie sort of dev thing to do, which it was fine for anybody that doesn't know anything about Outriders. If they watch that, they know a whole lot more. It was pretty extensive. Then, of course, there were some Tomb Raider updates. There's the Definitive Survivor trilogy. That is the remake trilogy, is just being re-released as a collection.
You already own it if you have PlayStation Plus.
True.
So that, like you said at the beginning of that, like Outriders, like the deep dive, for anybody that doesn't already know, and it's like, who already doesn't know? I'm just confused on what this whole thing is for.
Shell learned something.
Okay, well, Shell learned something. That's good. But I feel like they just did the announced trailer and the demo stuff. That was like 2 weeks ago, not even. And that was like a whole bunch of deep dive.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I feel like they gave more this time on the Square Enix Presents. I'm sorry to interject, Carlos. I didn't mean to, but
if you didn't know, I mean, there's still some cool things like we talked a little bit about Tomb Raider being an anniversary. I think it's the 25th.
Right. 25th anniversary. Yeah.
And so they glossed over a whole lot of little things. They're just like, hey, there's a whole lot of announcements, but it's not today. But if you didn't know, there's apparently a Tomb Raider cookbook coming. So that was cool.
Yeah, where's Reb at?
Yeah, exactly. We gotta get Reb on to talk about that one now. Then they went through some mobile titles, Just Cause, which the trailer was nice. It was just a CG trailer, but Just Cause Mobile is interesting. It looks like a squad-based version of Just Cause for mobile. It's probably going to run like crap.
But for mobile, why? Why?
It's the games
they're trying to tap into that Nintendo money.
That's right.
If they wanted to tap into that, they should put that on PlayStation 5 and PCs, and like people that actually play Just Cause will play it because
That's true.
The mechanics of Just Cause are cool, and if you do that with friends, that could be fun. But it's a mobile game.
It sounds like they might be scared.
I mean,
and they're just testing it out.
They do seem a little bit desperate with some of it, but I mean, when you look at the things that they didn't mention, you're noticing that they really didn't talk about Switch in this, basically at all. Couple of the games are coming to Switch, but but for the most part, the Switch stuff is in Nintendo's own directs and things like that. So they really tried to gather everybody that hasn't been paying attention lately to Square Enix. So Hitman Sniper Assassins is another mobile. Space Invaders AR, which that one I don't know who was asking for, so that one I will agree with was completely unnecessary. But I get what they're trying to do with it. They're just trying to expand the Square Enix brand itself, which I don't honestly know why it needs any more
Well,
expanding.
they also in that trailer said
But-
the Space Invaders brand, and I'm like, what brand?
Yeah.
Like, what
Yeah.
are we talking about here? Like, Space Invaders is cool. The game is cool. That's not a brand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. And they were like showing like people with like Space Invaders tattoos and stuff, and being like the brand. It's like that's not a brand. It's
Yeah.
I mean, there's a casino deal, like some local casino or like, yeah, it was some local casino was just like, hey, we've got the Space Invaders promo going on. Like, come in and play for a nickel, and Space Invaders win some money or something.
right. Yeah.
And I was just
Yeah.
like,
They stuff
what?
like that.
They're just playing in the nostalgia stuff, but it feels like now the Space Invaders brand is just, it may as well be nostalgia in brackets. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But I think this is coming to, I think the biggest reason why they're getting a little bit desperate here is Avengers.
Oh my god.
They're losing money. They're straight up just losing money by not having Avengers as a success. But what they had to announce was
That's
that
their
it's,
own fault.
the
That is their own fault.
technically true. That the version that's, or sorry, the next gen version is 4K 60 frames. They had to announce that, saying that it's free if you already have Avengers. So get it while you can, is what they're trying to push. They showed off the Hawkeye DLC. Gotta give a shout out to
Is that not already out?
Walt. I guess not.
That's
I didn't
fucking
look into
crazy.
it all
That
too
is
much.
so crazy. That game is dead. So when they put that up and said, "Here's a look at the Hawkeye DLC," I was like, "That's still not out. That was announced months and months ago." And like,
But hey,
who's playing
that
Avengers?
gives us the opportunity to shout out Walt Gray the Fourth. who
Walt
was a
Gray,
guest,
yes.
Who, hey, he's
Taskmaster
Taskmaster. He got his
at the very
own
beginning.
little spot in the Hawkeye DLC thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, congrats to him on that.
Congrats,
but yeah,
Walt.
they officially released the new version of the roadmap, because like you just said, I didn't even realize until somebody said it in Facebook that Spider-Man's still not out. I was like, wait, what?
I don't know what they're
Okay.
doing. I just have no idea
So-
what like these games that are supposed to be live service. They can't keep releasing them without shit like actually coming on its way. You know, like this is something that we keep coming around to on these games as service. Is like, yeah, I had fun with it for a while, and then I just had nothing to do. That can't keep happening, and that's why games like Outriders is not a live service game. The game is finished, and they give you all of the things at once. Like
That's
here,
true. I do
40-hour
think-
campaign, and then you have expeditions you can do afterwards. Full thing. Here it is. Take it or leave it. Like whatever. But like things like the Avengers and things like even Destiny and the Division had this problem, right? Where like stuff would come, like the first
Division had that
piece
problem
would
too.
come out, and then you'd be like, well, what do I do now? Like, and it's with Avengers, it's like
That's why I
1,000
stopped playing
times
it.
more egregious. Like it's even worse. It just feels like
I think
no one's
Avengers
been
is
in it.
officially. I think it's officially the last big release that was majorly affected by COVID. I think that's really what it boils down to. I just think they didn't have their shit together that whole time, and then this
Clearly.
happened. Because
Clearly
I mean,
they
Avengers
haven't.
was supposed to be something like May 2020, right? Originally.
I feel like their release window was probably hit harder by COVID than just about any other release, because
Besides Cyberpunk, yeah.
well, I would almost say even more than Cyberpunk, because I feel like a lot of Cyberpunk stuff had not to do with COVID. It just had to do with overpromising a massive
Yeah.
game. So not to say that COVID did not have an impact on Cyberpunk, but so if Avengers did come out last August, it would make sense that they would have such a struggle keeping up with content. I mean, it first of all stinks that the game's not good. Like that's the most important part. Stinks that the game's not good. But it stinks that if you were somebody working on this game, that man, you would just be facing insurmountable odds. I mean, you have the whole world working against you. I mean, COVID and a million other things, and you're trying to release an IP for one of the biggest franchises in the world. I mean, I do not envy the people who are working on this game.
Yeah, for real.
I get that, but you see other studios handling this so much better. And it's not for lack of money, because clearly they've been throwing tons of it at this game because of the IP. And it's just like, I could be like, yes, like take it. And also with like the Cyberpunk thing, the game wasn't done. And the higher levels push that stuff out. And maybe that's the same situation with Avengers. Like Avengers wasn't done, but they just had to get it out because there was so much money behind it. But you can't run live service games like this. The whole point is that you are continually feeding content. And if you are not, there's no point in it. There's no point of even having the game like this if you're not continually getting stuff out. So if Hawkeye is coming, it still isn't out yet, that's their first DLC character.
But
that's crazy.
To persuade you to get the game or keep playing if you have stopped already for months.
For months.
They did also mention the Black Panther expansion, which is definitely going to be a good one.
Which we'll get in 2 years at this rate? Or like it's just so confusing.
Very possibly. Apparently that one might actually come before Spider-Man, so that's hilarious. We vented a little bit about Avengers, so there we go. I will say, for anybody that wants to play a good fucking Avengers game finally, just go play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on Switch. It's great. Yeah. There you go.
Right.
And it's a one-time purchase. I mean, you can buy DLC.
Lego
but
Marvel
really
Avengers is also fantastic, and you don't have to deal with any of this other bullets.
And then to go on with the presents Balan Wonderworld, as I put in my notes here, Balan Wonderworld is indeed a game. It's releasing in 8 days. So
this is from the guy that did Knights, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was super excited when it was announced, but after the demo, oh boy.
Yeah, so this demo is like renowned as like, this is so bad it's hilarious, and like people are playing it for comedy reasons.
If you're gonna put a game on Switch, a platformer on Switch, it better compete. Like,
yeah,
the Switch is the king of platformers. You've got all the Mario you ever need involved there. So just like, you might as well just keep it on PS4 and Xbox at this point. But to get past shitting on balance, Life is Strange: True Colors was officially announced.
Yes.
And I'm psyched about that. Unfortunately, Don't Nod is not working on it. But I trust that the devs that they put on it are gonna do something good. The info they put out today was good. It's coming out in September. It's gonna be a full game release. No more chapter issues or anything like that. Just one big game.
So glad.
Yeah. And then to go along with that, Life is Strange Remastered is coming sometime in the fall. I'm guessing it's probably going to be a little bit later than True Colors, but it looks really good.
It does look good. They did say that like all the new stuff is like performance captured.
Yeah.
My main qualm with this in presentation is that this is a dev diary thing. This is not a presentation that you go, this is Square Enix. No, this is a dev diary that has a musician that is playing. I shouldn't use that in quotes. She's a musician. She can sing. She can play guitar. But she's like, I'm so excited to be working on this game, and I'm her singing voice, and you'll see me throughout the game. And then it cuts to her. And this is in the game, singing Creep by Radiohead, sadly, on the acoustic guitar. And I'm like, we have got to get away from this. We're getting into like this weird, like, stupid tropey thing where like, if a teenager is misunderstood, then they have to play Creep on an acoustic guitar. It's like, what is this? Like, this is so cheesy. What is
there
this?
Is this in between that I think it's honestly because it's Square Enix that they make those mistakes because they're not an indie team. Obviously, the devs may be an indie team, but
it's like, and they had to pay money to license that, and this can't be a cheap license. It just seems like there's better ways to do that and be like, this is sad, rather than and like this teenager's misunderstood, than going, what is the most this teenager's misunderstood song we could find, and let's do that. Oh, like every TV show and every movie and everything is ever done. Like, why are we still doing this? Like, that immediately. If I haven't played all the Life is Strange games, I think I played like the first 2 episodes, and I was like, this is good, but I'm not really that into it. But if this was like supposed to bring me in, that immediately kicked me out of it. It's like, I just can't with this. This is so it's I would think it's tongue in cheek, but it's not tongue in
Chris,
cheek.
what,
It's like
what if they
on
played
the nose.
Freebird?
No. So like I put it in the way like, and this is like completely different, right? But The Last of Us, Ellie playing acoustic songs.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah.
Did she fucking play Creep? No, she did not, because that is
No,
hokey.
she played Through the Valley.
She played Through the Valley. She played Pearl Jam. She played Aha.
Take on me.
Take on Me. Like, so
She
like there's
played-
other things to do here that you can still get the same emotion across, and not just go, what is the lowest possible, like,
Chris,
what's
Chris,
the least
see,
possible
I
try?
think you're missing it. What she was supposed to do was play Hurt.
That would
That's
still
what she
be
was
better.
supposed to do.
That I think that would be less hokey than playing Creep by fucking Radiohead. I think it's hokey as hell, and
Okay,
like
so
it's brutal.
So just to bring it, why I think they did that is because in the the first Life is Strange, the girl was very emotional.
Yeah.
Like she was total emo character,
Mhm.
and
That's right, yeah,
they're
she had that
trying.
hair,
I
yeah.
feel like they're just trying to carry. Yeah, I feel like they're just trying to carry that particular genre over into this game as well. They did it with the last one as well. It's just that their music, and I feel what you're saying. It doesn't always have to be death, depression, and
Well,
brimstone.
I just feel like the people that play Life is Strange aren't stupid, right? And
No,
like,
we're not.
and like to me, that is like
Excuse me?
that is
Excuse
like
me?
that is like insulting someone's intelligence to be like, we had to break this down to like the lowest common denominator so that you people get it. And it's like, no, you don't have to do that. Like, it's not like it's just a flaw.
But in the same turn,
It's
Yeah.
a video game about
But in
angsty
the same-
teenagers.
I know,
Right?
But
Yeah,
you don't
that's what I
have
was
to.
gonna say.
You don't have to go into every single trope of angsty teenager. You can tell that story well without diving into tropes that we've seen more than 100 times in other
over
media.
True.
again.
Do you think that COVID changes or not, we have seen like 5-ish years where every year I've thought this is the last E3 presentation we're gonna see. Like I've thought regularly, this is the last E3 we're gonna see because people are gonna go the way of Microsoft and Nintendo, and they're gonna go make their own presentations. Because why wouldn't they?
Right.
Because what do they have to benefit from a big group thing when they can just do their own thing? I think this is Square Enix saying, why don't we just do our own thing like Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony or whoever else? And this is them doing that. Because what you're describing, I never even watched the presentation. I read or I looked at like a news bit. This presentation is the pros and cons of a pretty good sized company saying, we have a big portfolio, why don't we just do it ourselves? Because like having a musician play at your performance, at your presentation, that's a performance, right? It's not just about game trailers and reveals and like a Nintendo Direct even. Instead, it says, hey, this is an entire presentation where we run the gamut of all this stuff. I'm not saying that everything they did was good by any
Right.
means. I'm not interested in going back and watching. I want the culture, I want the norm for this to be that what they did, I want that to be cool and fine. I want our expectations of these presentations to maybe go a little bit lower so that we can see more presentations like that maybe like they have a little bit of spectacle and stuff, but it's easier for me to consume content when it's all in one nice big bundle and I can get the cliff notes if I want, instead of drip feeding the normal way of like, here's a trailer today and either you saw it or you didn't. Like with Outriders, I feel like people who aren't really invested in gaming news easily could have overlooked that.
Yeah.
But if they saw a cliff notes for this big presentation, they might be like, I don't care about most of this, but what's this Outriders thing? And if we could normalize lowering our expectation a little bit and having like maybe two, if Square Enix maybe did that twice a year and everybody did it twice a year, I could check that out.
I kind of feel Chris's grievances, but I feel like at this point, Life is Strange with this Square Enix Presents was a kind of a bite from Sony Naughty Dog when they did The Last of Us 2. Like there were elements of this presentation that looked exactly like The Last of Us 2, down to the I'm singing this song to this is the story of, and this is the company that's it just seemed familiar. But because I love that game, I love that type of game, I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna enjoy it. All the other stuff, it was cool, but
So that's
Life is
kind of
Strange
my
was-
point. Is like if you would have just gotten the push from Square Enix over social media and over over all that stuff into all the news outlets that here's the new Life is Strange stuff, you would have found that. Like you
Right.
know what I mean? Like
But I think that goes in hand with what Thomas was also trying to explain too. Like we have to lower these expectations, and your point was valid too.
Yeah.
Like the developers need to lower the expectation, but these gaming companies or these developers are copying one another, setting those levels of expectations, only to fall short. So it just like you said, it's kind of like we gotta pick and choose,
yeah.
which audience to go for. But
Well,
like you said,
yeah.
I feel like your point is valid. I really do feel
Yeah.
like that they could have done Life is Strange outside of Square Enix Presents.
We as people just need to stop having the highest expectations possible, especially for gaming. Like we're just like, it's going to be this, it's going to be this. But that's part of the fun, right? Is to like guess what's going to happen. And that happens in movies, that happens in everything, right? But the like other companies have figured it out. Like Nintendo's like, I will do a mini direct. So now you know that's not anything crazy. It's just we're doing some mini stuff.
Yeah.
PlayStation will be like, this one's only 30 minutes and this is kind of what's happening. Square's just like, we got a big presentation. Everybody come watch.
Glad we're not a news outlet because I got you guys and everybody else to just like let me know what's up because I did not care enough. Sometimes these presentations I can like.
Thomas said he don't care.
Dude, I'm gonna.
Dude, I don't like. I could
Yeah.
turn stuff on, like on my phone, but I'm in a work truck all day, so I'm listening to music or podcasts and stuff pretty much all day, but it's very segmented, right? So it's hard to consume anything at a long period of time. So a presentation or like a Twitch stream or something is really hard for me to consume because it's constantly. I never know when I have to tune out and tune in. So stuff that happens in the midday like this, I'm just like, well, I'm totally fine getting the cliff notes from somebody else.
You know, the cool thing about it is that we still have a ton of other announcements all over the place all the time now.
That's
so whether or not we want it, it's gonna come.
Right.
And it's gonna
True.
do it as hard as possible because Microsoft is
Crazy.
putting a lot out there, Nintendo's putting a lot out there, and
Well, speaking of Microsoft, Carlos,
yeah,
Game Pass is
they
on
kind of
one.
added a few things.
Yeah.
They officially EA Play is out for PC now, and the only bad thing about that is that you do still have to have an EA sign in on your desktop. It's like a desktop app or something.
Right. Yeah.
So good luck with that. But for us console owners, we're still all good on Game Pass. But then, of course, because the Bethesda deal officially went through, we also have the whole freaking Bethesda collection on Game Pass, and a lot of people are just a little bit excited about that.
And I will say about the EA Play thing, it does have more games on PC than are available on console. So like all of Mass Effect is available on PC, but not available on PS4 for EA Play. So there are some perks to the EA Play being on. I know that like the remastered or whatever is coming soon in May, but there are some pluses to that. And with all this Bethesda stuff, like never have I ever played Skyrim. It's now downloaded on my PC. I don't know if it's going to get touched, but it's sitting there. So it's cool that Game Pass is getting the things that it's getting because it's like it's showing that there's like a reason to be there, or you know what I mean? Like there's like so much there that if you are a gamer at all on PC, like not having Game Pass is like a sin. I feel like you just gotta get it.
Maybe in another 6 years, I'll play Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, same. Yeah, it's like same
Oh my
kind of deal,
God, New Vegas was
Dude,
fun.
that's the best Fallout game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Cyberpunk 2077 is the best Fallout game. It is. It's like the same kind of deal.
A couple other little things. Nier Automata on Game Pass PC, which is apparently better than the Steam version.
It's
apparently
that
the Steam
that's
version
Square
was
too,
chunky.
right?
Yeah.
Why didn't they say that?
Well, you know, we're not going to get back to that, but yeah, apparently the Nier Game Pass version is way better. So that dropping, Octopath Traveler dropping, relatively soon. But then there are a couple other indies. Narita Boy or Narita Boy, I don't know exactly how to say that, is coming to Game Pass. It's a nice looking kind of Metroidvania 8-bit. We've seen a million of them before, but it actually does look pretty good. And then Genesis Noir, which we got a video of.
Yeah.
Genesis Noir is launching on freaking Game Pass, and that game
on the 26th.
Looks to be one of the most original things to come out this year. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm still wanting to possibly do a feature where we have some jazz musicians come and mess with that, at least opening part, and see how they feel about it, because there's a lot of music making things in it that I think somebody who's actually skilled and knows jazz would be very cool to have mess around in it. I've actually talked to the devs about it. Their PR company hasn't contacted us back, but the devs love it, so there we go.
Right. And Empire of Sin, which only came out I think 2 or 3 months ago,
Yes.
is dropping on console and PC, and Undertale is finally on Game Pass for both PC and console as well, and I think the cloud, which, as you've heard me before a million times, if you can play the cloud, you got a good enough internet connection and device to play it on, hell yeah, just play it.
Just do it.
Undertale's a good game. Go play it.
Yeah.
It's a really good game.
I do want to give a quick shout out, because we were just talking about the 26th and games coming out that day. It Takes Two, that co-op game from Hazelight, comes out on the 26th, which is like next week. So just a heads up, just a reminder that that's coming and happening, because I'm sure people were probably like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was coming out so soon," and there it is.
It might be the best 2-player co-op that we get this year.
Yeah.
So I guess, Shell, do you have a prime setting for a survival game? Space, right?
It's definitely space.
No, definitely not space. Definitely not space. No, definitely not space.
I mean, it seems like State of Decay would be your jam, right? I know you already played that, but like zombies.
I was about to say more so like State of Decay too, because there's like farming, but there's city on the other side, and a lake. That would be my ideal. And if you ask me which game mode I would play, I would probably play it on normal, never hardcore.
Yep.
I would always play it on normal.
What
Sounds
if it was
about right.
like,
if I just wanted to...
Stardew Valley, except if you don't protect the villagers, they slowly turn into zombies?
Yeah, I'd play that.
I'd play that too.
I think that's going to do it for us for this episode of the Party Invite podcast. Carlos, you want to let people know where they can find us?
Yeah, we've got a link tree that we link basically everywhere. We've got on Twitter, we are Party Invite Show. Also,
yes.
On Facebook, just look us up. The page and the group are Party Invite, but the links are a little funny. But if you type in Party Invite, you will find us. The group is active with now 600 members. Woo! We got to celebrate that at some point.
Crazy.
Of course, we also have a Discord, which is plastered all over the Facebook as well. We've got our YouTube, where all these podcasts, as well as QTEs and other content show up. And of course, Party Invite Show on Twitch. We're definitely starting up a lot more streaming than we used to do. So we've always got something going. Check it out on Discord or Facebook, and you'll know every time we do. Make sure that if you like us anywhere, that you're hitting the bell, whether it's YouTube or on Twitter. Get all of our notifications. Jump on all of our pages. We've got a website at partyinvite.games. Everything is everywhere.
Yes.
That was my nod to EA. It's in the game and all that stuff. But yeah, we're literally everywhere. The links are going to be below wherever you're at, whether it's anchor.fm, where we have the audio podcast, or YouTube, where we have the video podcast. You can find us everywhere. And we just keep trying to get more follows and more subs. And we got a lot more people talking in our community on Facebook. So get to it.
And Shell, where can everybody
Come
find
party
you
with
at?
us.
Yeah, there you go. Shell, where
Come
can people
party
find
with
you?
us. Yeah, come party with us, y'all. You can find me at YUPDATSCHELLE. Yep, that's Shell. You can find me on YouTube under that name. Also Twitch. I'm also going to be starting to stream again The Walking Dead pretty soon this week. Even though it's almost up, but I'll probably start it Saturday after brunch with the party. Make sure y'all check that out on Saturday because brunch is going to be happening and it's going to be fun. Normally, brunch is normally really fun.
I really do love doing that brunch special.
Nice.
I enjoy watching it because helping you out or helping you out doing the quest like Cardo when you did Cardo that was fun.
Was great.
I really like that game.
Yeah, that game was a snack.
All right.
Well, Shell, thanks for joining us, and
thanks for having me.
Thanks for being a mod in our community too, and we'll catch you guys on the flippity flop.
Peace.
See ya.